Yeah, I am so sorry, guys. It's because it crashed. It mucked things up. My apologies.
No, they can't hear you.
Yeah, they can hear me now.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for. I wish you guys had gotten on there sooner. You'll have to wait for the audio recording.
Mm.
It totally screws up the flow when the system
yeah.
crashes.
Oh my God, I can finally hear.
Yeah, my apologies. Everything has to. All the stars have to align correctly. And by the way, how does everybody think? What do people think of the cat eyes? It's one of our cats, actually.
Aw.
It's just his eyes. Pretty big, isn't he? Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry about that.
I wish I'd noticed sooner.
Yeah, I wish I had too. It's part of the setup. I went through the whole startup sequence again, but I skipped one step because I manually restarted a bunch of things, and I forgot to manually.
Chris always says checklist.
Yeah. Well, the checklist didn't apply here because I was restarting. But,
well, that was Catholic Watch, so.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Silence. Yeah, that was pretty much almost done the Catholic Watch. We were just going through that piece of shit human being that talked about basically blamed children for being molested
and non-tender homes where they don't get tenderness, and apparently child molestation is tenderness.
Yeah, so molestation was the fulfillment of that seeking tenderness. Like, what the hell, dude?
And claiming children are the ones initiating it by kissing them on the mouth.
Here's a thought: don't ask for Catholic priests to be on your programs.
Actually, I'm kind of glad they did.
In this, I get you. I hear you. I mean,
exposes freaking freaks for what they are, and the way they justify, and the way they blame the kids, and I say blame the non-tender homes. So,
yeah. So
your kids were asking for it, you guys. Send them back to church.
She came on to me. There's a song called that. It's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
The song. I don't think any of this other stuff is funny.
Yeah.
All right. And if you're wondering why the
this is why we need Chris here to watch this stuff too, because my computer's.
Yeah, you probably the beast. That's what I call the computer.
Chris.
Is really, 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 really good. But anyway, despite all of that, Pope Francis. Oh no, so he's turned down the resignation of Philippe Barbarin. So just because the guy, even though this cardinal was convicted of not reporting a pedophile priest to the police. Oh, I won't accept his resignation until after the appeal. He's been convicted. What more?
What more? Yeah. Obviously, there's evidence.
At the very least, temporarily remove him from his position. Like, to just say, oh well, we'll just wait. Maybe you really are innocent and all that. Like. What do you do? There's one more story, and I gotta find it here. It's so ironic. Come on.
Yep.
We forgot to talk about the
Shireen Abdul-Wahab, musician.
Oh, we'll get to that. Maybe we'll cover it in Islam.
How about the far-right Australian?
No, we're still actually in the Catholic Watch. There's something that I want to bring up. I might not have brought it up. Damn it. It was the Pope talking about corruption, which I thought was true irony.
Okay.
Let's see if I can...
The Catholic Register?
Yeah, that's the one. The Catholic Register. It was reported on this. There we go.
We were talking about that a little bit, but nobody can hear us. What do you think?
Yeah, so corruption, this is from the Pope. Corruption is a devastating cancer harming society. Wow. Self-awareness, dude. You might want to, I'll give you a quarter. Go buy some.
So, I don't understand their definition of corruption. So what's their definition of corruption?
Oh, basically taking bribes, I guess. That kind of thing. It's just weird. I mean, this is the Pope. It's the most corrupt organization on the planet. Even worse than the International Olympic Committee.
And he's talking about society as a whole. Okay.
Yeah, so he says Christians believe Jesus himself is urging us to... sorry. I think I'll do it in... pick a voice here. I'll pick a voice. I've done chipmunk.
Yeah, this is more... anything kind of ironic.
I don't have anything for irony.
Hypocrisy?
I don't know.
Kind of evil.
Yeah, kind of evil. I could do the zombie. Let's try zombie.
Well,
Christians believe Jesus himself is urging us to openly face this evil and to go to the roots of problems. He teaches us to personally pay the price in this fight, not out of pursuing an unrealistic heroism and undisguised attention-seeking, but with the humble tenacity of a person who does his or her job, often hidden, resisting the pressures of the world.
Wow. There you go.
Okay, so what's he talking about specifically?
Good question. I'm not even really sure, but if you want to look at corruption, look at the Curia in the Vatican. I mean, the Curia is the Catholic Church's what's the word I'm looking for? The bureaucracy. There we go. And
assets used irresponsibly.
Yeah, the real.
Well, you have a bunch of gold knickknacks.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't really care. Coming from him, talking about corruption, I just think is just wow.
And society as a whole.
Pot, kettle, black. There you go.
Pretty funny, actually.
Yeah. It'd be funny if it wasn't so damn.
So yeah.
Yeah. So where to now? We're finished with Catholic Watch. Can do Quack Tracts, Iron Islam, regressive left. We kind of did the regressive left with some of the responses to the attack in New Zealand.
And then Islam is kind of related, so Iron Islam's a good seg.
Yeah, I suppose we... yeah, I can do Iron Islam. Let's take a look at the new bumper. Yay!
The Legion of Reason presents Eye on Islam.
Wow. I love playing with stuff like that, visual effects. Yeah, so there's one here that we're going to start. Where is it? No, not there, women. There we go. This is from Egypt Independent. Shireen Abel Wahab she's a performer. and she's been banned from performing in Egypt. And just wait until you hear why. The musicians syndicate in Egypt, led by artist Hani Shaker, banned renowned Egyptian singer Shireen Abdel Wahab from performing in Egypt, in addition to scheduling a disciplinary a meeting on March 27th to investigate the claims brought against her regarding her latest controversial statement at a concert in Bahrain. Egyptian lawyer Samir Sabri filed a recent complaint against her for insulting Egypt. Ooh, no. How dare she say it ain't so. Spreading false news. Okay, we'll get to that one in a moment. And inviting suspicious human rights organizations to interfere in Egypt's affairs. What? Suspicious human rights organizations.
Human rights. Bloody hell.
Wow. I bet
human rights are just bad.
Yeah, I bet you Amnesty International has never been called that. Sabri's legal complaint claimed that Shireen devastated, I love this, devastated Egypt's reputation with her recent statement at a concert in Bahrain, where she stated, and here's where the whole spreading false news thing is very ironic. She stated, "Here I can say whatever I want. In Egypt, anyone who talks gets imprisoned," according to Sabri. So
what do they do?
The response
Prove her
is
right. Good job, guys.
It gets even funnier. Shireen's last mistake. Oh no, can't do that. Let's do this in Chipmunk.
Shireen's last mistake, making fun of the Nile River, was a big one. And here is another catastrophe. Her statement angered Bahrainis more than Egyptians themselves because they love Egypt.
Drinking its water may lead to parasitic infections. Why would you say that about a river?
Yeah, no kidding.
Telling people not to get sick. Wow. We talk about our rivers like that all the time because there's deer poop and everything else in it. Come on.
Yeah, and apparently this guy took the.
So they want to pretend their water doesn't make people sick.
No kidding. Jeez, they do. Yeah, it's used for irrigation and run. The runoff is, nasty and all rivers contain parasites. Go out into the mountains here and you'll get diarrhea if you just beaver fever. And
we won't get pulled into court for saying that, unlike her, who said if you say stuff like that you get pulled into court, and guess what they do?
Not court, but it's her. I guess it's akin to the some kind of musicians guild.
Okay.
So
disciplinary meeting.
We'll see. It's early days yet. Who knows? Maybe she will be put in front of a court.
She's banned from.
Yeah, she's performing in Egypt.
By the.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and this is before any hearing too. And she hasn't even had a hearing yet. Oh man, that's just hilarious. You just can't make this shit up. And here in Calgary, this goes back to the New Zealand attacks and the response. Armin Navabi was supposed to be he did talk here in Calgary a couple of days ago.
Just not
it was,
at one place.
Yeah, it was scheduled to be at Mount Royal University, and the university in this is what they said on social media. Quote, in light of the shooting last week and the responses to the event we have received from students and staff, we are going to have to cancel hosting your event with Armin on campus on Thursday. And as a result, Armin said, I've been deplatformed again, which is true. And the Atheist Society of Calgary posted, they said They feel that to cancel this event communicates to terrorists in general that these tactics will accomplish their objectives.
Particularly since this guy he's an atheist, isn't he?
Yes,
an ex-Islam.
He's an ex-Muslim who, if he were to travel to certain places, his life would be threatened in a very real way.
So how would
but you can't say that because it's Islamic.
Show support for New Zealanders that were Islamic when he's not Islamic, and are they equating?
It's tortuous and twisted logic, I think. It's not the first time that's happened to him. He was recently the subject of a feature article in Cherwell, a weekly student paper published by the students of Oxford University in the UK. However, the article was withheld from online publication on the grounds that Navabi's comments about atheism and against Islam might be considered offensive. I mean, they should have sent Stephen Fry after them for that, because I love what Stephen Fry says about offense. His response is, so fucking what? Mm-hmm. And I agree. Offense is not a reason to... So
are they equating this poor guy to the guy who shot up the mosque or something? What? I don't understand why preventing someone from speaking does anything.
Yeah, well, I guess...
particularly an atheist...
Something silly like that.
Why are they picking on atheists?
Well, Islamic atheists. But I'm an anti-Islamic atheist.
Yeah.
I
bet you'd
I'm
be allowed
anti-Christian
to
too. I'm anti-Judaism. I'm anti-Jain. I'm anti-Buddhism as part of the religion. Even the philosophy's kind of...
Yeah.
That's not, if people are offended by that, well, so fucking what?
So now they've made the problem worse. You can't not be Islamic. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that.
Yeah, this is just being overly sensitive to things. And the world keeps on moving, okay? And they said he'd be welcome back at any time, other than this time, and I'm just like, well, sure, but it doesn't matter. He's scheduled to be here at that time. The event continued anyway at C-Space.
Well, shame on
Calgary Arts
good
institution,
but shame on this.
But it had to be. They had to move things over pretty quickly. I mean, it was like the same day or the day before or something. So,
do they even mention the venue in there? I'm looking for it, and I'm not.
Yeah, it was
seeing it.
Mount Royal University was the original venue, and then C-Space was where it moved to. And yeah. So yeah, I think that's all I got for Eye on Islam. I mean, we covered you'll have to. Sorry, folks, for the audio issues. We'll have to go back to the audio
for the Catholic Watch.
Yeah, for all the Catholic Watch and the stuff we talked about some of the stuff that we talked about on New Zealand, and the aftermath and some of the really asinine responses to it's a heinous crime.
Well, didn't you have that guy who got egged in here?
Oh yeah, this is something. Don't do this, people. Don't ever do this. It was a Australian senator that got egged for he made reprehensible comments. Absolutely.
Yes, but
shame on this little punk who basically cracked an egg on this guy's head for stealing that. Okay, you just bought him some sympathy, and
it wasn't worth it because now you're in trouble.
Yeah, they released him, but that is violence just because it's an egg. This is an act of violence, and it's assault. He should have been charged. And I think that Australian police should have charged them. They're just fearing the public response, because a lot of people, I don't have a bit of sympathy for this guy, not one shred, but don't do it. Okay, just don't. This is
better ways to make
discourse.
A statement against what he said.
Yeah, there are far more effective ways to counter bad ideas. This doesn't even make my long list, let alone my short list. Idiot. It's the same thing with the guy that punched what's his name? Richard Spencer. He should have been. They should have found him and charged him.
Yeah, well, he should have been charged. But it's still
kind of better than them. That is not better. That's worse.
Nope. It was kind of fun to watch, though. But
yeah, like I say, I don't feel a bit of sympathy for him, but I don't. It
don't condone it.
Away. No, not at all. I don't condone it. Yeah. And I don't care what the guy said. In fact, it takes the focus away from what he said, and that's the biggest problem.
And then makes everybody else look bad.
Yeah, I am not with him. Sorry. Yeah, enough said about that. Yeah, I think Quack Tracts, yeah.
It's time for Quack Tracts.
Yeah, Quack Tracts. Of course, we're going back to the anti-vaccination crowd again. Here, this is an Italian legislator, anti-vaccination legislation advocate, hospitalized with chicken pox. Oh man!
I bet you that's fun at his age.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's very dangerous.
How did he avoid chicken pox until then? I think he's vaccinated.
His kids are vaccinated, so that's how. Probably herd immunity because all the other children around him were vaccinated. He's not an anti-vaxxer per se, but he's against legislation requiring vaccinations. And it's not like the legislation is forcing parents in Italy to vaccinate their children against their wishes. It just says, okay, if you're going to send your kids to a public school, they're going to have their vaccines up to date.
Yeah,
that's perfectly fine. It's not, you're not holding a gun to anybody's head. I think you're not a very good parent. It's part of good parenting is getting your kids vaccinated. And he's this guy Massimiliano Federiga, who is the president of Italy's northeastern Friuli Venezia. Oh God, I don't even know if I want to pronounce this. Giulia region. Announced his hospital stay on social media. You must be feeling all right, nitwit. He's always said that he's in favor of vaccines, and to achieve the result it's necessary to form an alliance with families and not impose them. Well, again, they're not really imposing them. The critics even said I would get chicken pox from my children, not realizing that my children are vaccinated, as I've stated in many interviews, but you got it anyway! Oy vey.
And then shingles will be fun too.
Oh, I had that. A very mild case. At least that's what the doctor told me it was. It didn't really look very hard. But actually, if you look really carefully, there's a scar. Yeah, Frank, whatever. Where are you? I heard the meow. I have a scar from it. There's a big goose egg on my forehead for a bit.
Yeah, the immune system.
Yeah, it hides in the nerves and stays there for decades, and it comes out.
It comes out and does weird things.
Yeah, it's triggered by stress, for instance, or other things. Yeah, but to get it that late in life can be life-threatening. When I was a kid, it was a big deal. But you can.
Yeah, it still hurt.
You can get lasting side effects, or not side effects, but corneal scarring or deafness, that kind of thing. But it never affected me.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
What'd you say?
When I got chicken pox, there was I had enough issues with eczema and hives, and then to have chicken pox on top of that was really horrible. Yeah. I spent a lot of time in the bathtub.
What? Calamine?
Trying to keep them.
From scratching?
Calamine bath and baking soda bath, yeah, because
baking soda, yeah.
I got them everywhere, literally everywhere, so to keep me from scratching, I scratched myself till I was bleeding when I was asleep anyway, so the bath also helped soothe a bunch of my own scratch marks and wounds from that. No.
Yeah. So, and with the recent measles scare here, there are clinics that are taking steps to stop the spread of infection and saying if your kid has measles-like symptoms, you do not come in here. There's an obstetrics and gynecology clinic in Calgary. They decided to ban unvaccinated children from its practice last week because of there was a confirmed case here in Calgary, and we talked about it.
But there's a place they can go.
I actually don't know where that would be. It's if it's measles, yeah, you better go to Emerge.
To the hospital rather than.
Yeah, you don't want to go to a clinic. But clinics, that's a good place to catch various diseases. So and there are children that are immunocompromised that can't be vaccinated. There you go. So they were saying that there is an ethical dilemma, but on this Dr. Matatal said, but on the other hand, we really don't want our office to be a place of exposure, and we don't want to put our patients at risk. Well, yeah, that's a good reason. If your kids aren't vaccinated, that.
Well, and there's other kids that are too young to be fully vaccinated or vaccinated. I mean, it does cause lasting damage or death.
Well, yeah, and Dr. Como said, I've said this too. He said, we know that it's just a plane ride away, and a child could walk through the doors at any moment with measles. And that's exactly what happened in the recent measles case in Alberta. Took unvaccinated kids to Thailand, got measles, came back with it, started becoming symptomatic on the way back. And was it Vancouver? Oh, okay, it was Vancouver. What was the case of in Calgary? There was a confirmed case, but I don't know. But that one, it is only a plane ride away. So is polio. So are any number of diseases. I mean, the world has shrunk where you can reach any part of the globe in under 24 hours. And that's long.
How come?
That's very short time compared to incubation periods.
Yeah, I'm still disappointed these articles don't bring up SSPE.
Yeah,
more
that's
often.
One of the unfortunate and essentially untreatable
illnesses
possible outcomes from measles. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people aren't educated about that at all, so this would have been an opportunity to explain why you don't want your children to get this. Because obviously parents don't know.
You're not likely to, in the Western world we're talking about, you're not likely to die from measles, but it's not just mortality that you worry about. There are other possible outcomes that are permanent, including death down the road.
And SSPE, you're going to watch your child die slowly, years after they got measles. So,
but don't worry, there are alternatives to to vaccines.
Yeah, this is the infuriating part.
CBC, this is a CBC story. Stronger action urged against homeopathic products touted as alternatives to vaccines. As a doctor
Not just
said,
homeopathic, though.
Well, yeah. It's nonsensical to have these products licensed by Health Canada. I agree. I don't think there should be anything that's licensed by Health Canada that you ingest that hasn't gone through proper clinical trials. And natural products are given a free pass. It just has to be.
And then people are like, why do they get a DIN number then?
Yeah, and like vaccines are monitored. They are. There's no drug, no class of drugs that is more studied than vaccines. And you know, if Vioxx had been monitored as closely as vaccines, the potential heart conditions would have been found much earlier, and the drug removed from, not necessarily removed, but I mean, it could be short-term usage, but it all depends on the risk versus benefit.
I really like this article because they do talk about
clear. Yeah, they're pretty clear.
The promotion of homeopathic remedies in general can play into common strategies used by anti-vaccination proponents to spread misinformation. Mm-hmm. Dr. Vanita Dubey, the City of Toronto's Associate Medical Officer of Health. That misinformation includes false logic that natural things are good and safe, while so-called unnatural. Like, how is homeopathy natural? Come on. The argument that governments promote vaccination because of influence from big pharma, selectively choosing which scientific papers. Well, that's dumbing it down a little bit. Homeopathy, promoted as a safe alternative, then contributes to vaccine hesitancy, because then they perceive vaccines as not safe, even though, you know, vaccines are prevention, homeopathy is nothing.
Yeah, these no-sods, this is another quote, no-sods are not and never have been approved by Health Canada to be vaccine alternatives. This was on a safety alert issued by Health Canada in March, earlier this month. No homeopathic products should be promoted as an alternative to vaccines because there are no substitutes for vaccines. So why not crack down on this?
Yeah, it says right here too, homeopathy is based on an unproven theory rejected by modern science that water can be exposed. Yeah, it's not even a theory. It hasn't even got. It's a crappy hypothesis that hasn't panned out. They think water can be exposed to bacteria, viruses, plants, minerals, retain a memory even after all traces of substance has been eliminated through dilution, and that this crazy water memory. Yeah, even though there's no nerve system to retain these memories, they don't have any medical benefit beyond placebo. And in fact, when you get measles,
well, they
can't even placebo prevent diseases.
No, they can't. They get no immune response. So that's how they've been shown to be baloney, is that, you know, you give no-sods, test for an immune response for the disease which the no-sod supposedly prevents you from getting. No immune response. You can't get that from a placebo effect. So the placebo effect is bullshit. It's not real in the sense that
I don't think it even applies here because if you do something, you feel better. Well, if you do something that doesn't prevent disease, you're not. Yeah, it's like if you're not feeling good and you go eat something and you feel better, or go for a walk, or take a pill and believe that it's helping you. There is no placebo effect for vaccines. You're still going to get the disease whether you think you are or not. So what they mean in this case is you're not going to feel any better beyond placebo. Placebos don't treat diseases. This won't either. So, a long time ago, I learned about, the opposite. Well, when it was funny, when I learned about placebo effect, it was taught to us in a completely opposite example. People used to believe what witch doctors said. So if the witch doctor said you were going to die, you might grovel somewhere and not eat or drink for 3 days and die of thirst. But it happened not because of the witch doctor, but because of your actions. So that's the same thing if somebody's telling you this will make you feel better, but vaccines aren't going to make you feel better.
They're not. They're going to have zero effect on disease prevention.
False sense of security is not going to protect you.
And nosodes contribute to vaccine hesitancy. So that kind of segs into the formation of a Calgary vaccine hesitancy clinic, and they're aiming to convince parents to get kids vaccinated.
But then they're working against the College of Naturopathic Physicians of British Columbia, where naturopaths are promoting homeopathic alternatives.
Yeah. Bring that up again, because we're going to talk. Tim Caulfield, who from the University of Alberta, wrote a piece on convincing people to do vaccines, and naturopaths get mentioned in there. You might want to you have something to say on that there. This clinic has been set up just to combat the whole misinformation about vaccines.
By naturopaths.
It's difficult to convince people. It's Dr. Cora Constantinescu. There's a Romanian name for you. She's an infectious disease expert and pediatrician, and she's one of the 2 physicians working in this clinic. She says, I believe when we talk about changing behavior in vaccine-hesitant parents, it's not as easy as correcting misinformation. There's an emotional gap and trust gap that we as physicians need to bridge in order to elicit this behavioral change.
But you can thank chiropractors, naturopaths, and people selling multi-level marketing things like essential oils for sowing this doubt. And how are they speaking to I
have a feeling that what they're doing is that they're getting family physicians to make referrals to them. And if they're saying, well, I don't know if I should get my child vaccinated, okay, well, you could talk to these people over here, and they'll give you the 411 on vaccines. So there's anti-vax parents believe very firmly that they are acting in the best interest of their children. The idea is
because they've been lied to.
They've been lied to, or they buy into conspiracy theory nonsense, and it's big pharma. They're out to get you. Pharmaceutical companies don't make money on vaccines. They make money on measles. Yeah, well, that too, right? They sell the stuff that treats the disease as opposed to but vaccines they really don't
prevent it.
And so to say, well, this is just propaganda by big pharma, it doesn't compute. They really don't. They actually lose money on vaccines, and then, but the thing is, in the U.S. they have that vaccine court, which just adds to the problem.
Well, people lie about the vaccine court too. They lie about that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm allergic to so many things, and there's going to be people allergic to vaccines or vaccine ingredients, and they'll get compensated, but it's not because there's something in the vaccine that's going to harm anyone. And other cases where they've tried to prove that it's the vaccine when actually getting sick would have caused the same issue because of the way their immune system works too. So, but because they can prove the kid got the vaccine and not sick at that time, they have some weird immune system issues that stuff happens.
The problem they have that the vaccine court presents is that the conspiracy theorists can point to it and say, see, this proves that the vaccines are harmful.
But they don't look at the case-by-case basis, and they actually lie about VAERS as well. In fact, there were campaigns not too long ago to make false reports to make those stats go up. So, there was a concerted effort.
If you get a vaccine, child gets a vaccine and gets hit by a bus the next day, that can go into VAERS. The death or harm does not have to have anything to do with the vaccine to go into VAERS. It's just it's a reporting system.
And anyone can report. Anyone can put a false report in, and then VAERS has to investigate. This wastes their time. But
so I think this is a good proactive approach to parents who are hesitant to vaccinate their children.
And if they're still willing to talk to doctors, that's good.
Yeah, I hope so. And hopefully some minds will be changed and children will be protected.
I wonder how they're gonna... There's two of them. I wonder how busy they are and how... I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, but so good on them.
Well, you have to say the same things over and over again.
and face angry, scared.
Conspiracies and... It doesn't cause autism, people. It doesn't cause anything. Okay. And Tim Caulfield wrote a piece, Stopping the Spread of Anti-Vax Myths. And he thinks there's no quick fix. And probably true. I do like some of the stuff that he wrote here.
I like Tim Caulfield. I like his writing anyways, so... Yeah.
Let's be crystal clear. There is absolutely no credible evidence, zero, zilch, zip, to support the most popular anti-vax myths, including the idea that vaccines cause autism or that vaccines can overload a child's immune system. In fact, many of these myths aren't even scientifically plausible. For example, a child is exposed to thousands of antigens that stimulate the immune system from the time they are born, actually before they are born. Exiting the uterus is actually putting on a much larger biological load than giving all the vaccines at once. But anyway, from the time they are born, and as such, there is no reason to think that multiple vaccines can overload the immune system. Still, these myths persist and can have a real impact on vaccination intentions. He talks about the government vaccine compensation payouts prove autism link, which of course we just talked about. There's no it's post hoc ergo propter hoc. Like my kid became autistic after getting vaccines, therefore vaccines cause it. No, that's not logical.
They happen to get vaccinated just when
at the time
it shows up.
But an expert would actually be able to see, an expert in autism would see traces of it before. Yeah, long before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
what's particularly funny is the claim that autism is something new. There weren't diagnoses in the past. Well, I like this argument about it. Well, we never named or discovered Mount Everest until this date, apparently, but I'm pretty sure it existed before that date.
Yeah. That's true. He writes, fighting anti-vax noise will be an ongoing battle that will likely require the utilization of several strategies. I'm getting tongue-tied today. There is some evidence that using credible information to emphasize the potential consequences of not vaccinating your child can have an impact, particularly if this is done using creative communication strategies, such as pictures and stories, that speak to the concerns of parents. So in other words, show the parents what measles looks like.
Yeah, but
from a kid that has
some anti-vaxxers have an argument. That's fear-mongering.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this won't happen to your kid if you use my oils. So your kid won't get measles, so you don't have to be scared of it. They fearmonger. It's not that bad. Measles is not that bad anyways. All this fearmongering
is not a problem, because that's the whole point of vaccinating children. You fear getting the actual disease. Fearmongering.
But they will say they're not that dangerous. So the fear-mongering does not work on those anti-vaxxers. They'll just scoff it off and, well, A, it's not that bad, and B, these oils will keep them away from me. So the fear-mongering doesn't work on them.
Well, I think that at that point you go to the how do you know strategy, right? Like, how do you know?
Because my naturopath told me.
Yeah, well, the
naturopath knows history better than you.
Somebody I wouldn't.
You're the liar.
I wouldn't trust a naturopath to sit the right way on a toilet seat, so...
But you know how they're miseducated. These people don't, so...
Yeah, well, they get as much training as a medical doctor. No, they learn this... Because we take science classes, too, yeah. The difference is that med students took those classes before they became med students. They're learning about medicine when they're in med school. It's a prerequisite. And some of the stuff that you learn is just plain bullshit. So you're mixing science with, this is the dangerous thing, right? Mixing science
philosophy
with mythology. The myth that herbs, it's an appeal to tradition. It's old knowledge, therefore it's really good. And
because we lived so long way back when.
No kidding. We lived to less than 30 years old.
And it was wonderful, apparently.
Died of things like dental disease. Excruciating. I couldn't even imagine dying from that. It would be excruciating pain. In addition, highlighting the scientific consensus, the value of herd immunity, and the lack of credibility of the myth spinners can also have an impact, which is what we normally do, skeptics do. Perhaps more important, we need to take even the most bizarre anti-vax rumors and conspiracy theories seriously and strive to quickly counter them with good, clear, and trustworthy information. There is some evidence that responding rapidly with compelling and shareable content, that is, fighting fire with science-informed fire, can help to slow the spread of misinformation and pseudoscience.
Yeah, I try to get the fence sitters sometimes, so...
Yeah.
You're not going to convince somebody who's profiting off of fear-mongering about vaccines. That's allowed, ironically, but to fear-monger about the disease, that's not allowed in the anti-vax world. So, it's very profitable to scare people about vaccines. And
well, naturopathy and homeopathy, that's big business, too.
Billions of dollars, yet, no, they're the friendly little pharma. Cute. Yeah, Big Pharma's the big ugly monster. These guys are the cute little bunnies over here.
The problem is that Big Pharma has shot themselves in the feet occasionally and, contributed to this distrust.
Yeah. But we've proven over and over again that modern medicine isn't all bullshit. However, naturopathy is.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Homeopathy.
So, chiropractic
herbs, there's something to some herbs. There's no question. I mean, chamomile tea, it does have a sedative in it.
But you're not going to take it before you have a surgery. What you need is a controlled amount, knowing the exact properties, taking out the things that are going to hurt you. I mean, willow bark works too, but it'll, burn a hole in your stomach. Yeah. It'll take some pain away, but in the end it'll cause worse. However, we took the properties, tweaked it a bit, and now we have a painkiller called aspirin. And it works quite effectively without burning a hole in your stomach. Yeah, we tweaked it a little with chemistry, so it's no longer natural, but it won't burn a hole in your stomach.
I've got one last story here. The results of a poll, this is from CBC News. Alberta's publicly funded hospitals should be required to allow assisted dying, poll says. When I put the post up on the Facebook page, I said I'm not a big fan of polls when it comes to rights, because rights should be granted regardless of their popularity.
Popular opinion, yeah.
But this does serve one thing. It might create an impetus for not so if the society has a will for this, then that can translate into a political will and can change. The heck is that?
I like how they point out here politically UCP supporters were least likely to support the idea of requiring the service because,
But even those were
religion
too. It wasn't like a huge difference. It was still 70% response
versus 87.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still pretty high.
It's
it is
significant,
actually.
But it's still high. And so
it's not 40.
Yeah. Mind you, this is an online poll, which is
the worst kind.
Self-selected kind of thing. And so it's
here it is. Religious affiliation also affected responses. So
of course. Oddly enough, Catholics were higher than Protestants.
Protestants and other Christians, whatever those are. No religious affiliation.
Yeah,
86%.
Oh, yeah, because we're not.
That's even higher than NDP supporters. They were at 88.
And it's we're not shackled by dogma. We actually have to think about our ethics and
how I want to die.
Yeah, well, I've seen firsthand what at the time was the only option was voluntary withdrawal from food and water, and I'm not going.
My own grandma did that.
Nope. Not going out that way.
Her organs were shutting down and everything, but the way to go quicker is just not take anything in your mouth. But I don't want to go like that. I'm sorry. I saw somebody had a party at his Dying with Dignity.
Oh yeah, I should put that story up here. It was an interesting story that he went out with a party. That's.
I want to do that. I don't want to starve to death or die of thirst. I want to do that.
Yeah, he was wearing his Calgary Flames.
And people actually found it better than watching someone waste away in a hospital for some odd reason.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you don't want it, don't ask for it. But don't tell other people they can't have it.
Well, and they lie. They say, "Oh, this is going to be forced on us. We're going to be forced to have this party." No, sorry,
panels. No. The stupid death panels. My God, that's just like.
Yeah.
Oh.
Stop lying to each other about this crap. If you don't want it, don't do it. Don't get a gay marriage. Don't have a child out of wedlock.
Yeah.
Leave everybody else alone, though. Screw off.
Yeah. It's legislating morality and legislating
immorality in my mind. They're more a bunch of assholes making people suffer.
I mean, it never works anyway. I mean, if you look at the reasons behind prohibition in the U.S., there was to stop family breakups and public drunkenness, and it worked for a little while until.
But then people found a way.
Yeah, they not only did the deaths due to improperly produced alcohol go up, and blindness, of course, etc., insanity as well. Deaths due to ethanol poisoning went up too.
It's like that's not how you address addiction. People find a way. If you take this away, they'll go do this. That's not how you treat addiction.
It makes it attractive. It makes it it's
even more taboo. Yeah,
exactly. So you feel like it feels good to break taboos sometimes, and
then you'll get more people addicted. Great. This is the opposite way you should treat addiction.
But if you listen to Catholic priests, they're like, "Oh no, you can't. You don't have the right to self-determination because God." Well, not everybody believes in your stupid God, and you're fucked up.
And obviously, it's not working.
And people, people are saying, "Well, it's either having good palliative care or it's having
these." My grandma had great palliative
care. It's
care.
not true. It's not an either-or situation. The countries with the best palliative care in the world also have medical-assisted dying. Mm-hmm. So, suck it.
Am I...
What?
When is this stuff finally going to go away and people can just be who they are and get what they need?
Well, society changes. There's always going to be something. I mean, it's like we're dealing with technologies that couldn't have been foreseen long ago. I mean, what does the Bible have to do with stem cell research? Like, it's beyond those people, the people that wrote the Bible's imagination. I mean, like, way beyond. So, but trying to shoehorn in a Bronze Age zeitgeist, like a Bronze Age ethical system that sucks to begin with, into modern
really
era can't work and can only be a big problem. And instead, we're not going to do any stem cell research because we're killing babies. Like, no,
we're not.
Fetus is not a baby. Get over it. And so it set back stem cell research.
And there's more than one way to get stem cells. Geez, you can get them out of the placenta for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So.
And there's even adult stem cells you can revert.
Play with.
Back to stem cell stage.
Biotechnology is amazing. It needs to stop being squelched.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing God. Yeah, okay, so.
We're applying our learning.
Yeah.
And saving lives. Oh, that's so bad. Instead, you'd rather everybody suffer and die. Great. Yeah, that's wonderful.
As God intended.
This God is the son of a bitch.
Yeah, I it's one thing to deny the existence of a God. It has nothing to do with how I feel about that God. Okay, if that God existed, it would have some explaining to do.
Yeah, if that's the result of this God.
I certainly wouldn't worship such a monster. I mean, it's not a loving God.
Now, my God, if my God existed, it would be a good God.
Yeah. So. Well, have you ever had the argument, somebody saying, "Oh, you just want to be your own God"? I'm like,
I'm not a God. Sorry, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, so I'd be a pretty shitty God.
Yeah,
that's not how I imagine God. Sorry.
I just love tweaking the noses on Twitter. It was it Answers in Genesis? I can't remember. One of those gospel things, and it said, "Whose word makes you tremble?" And I said, "My wife's." She thought it was funny. It's like, oh,
why do you need a word to make you tremble? Can't you know how to be good?
They just set these things up like just way too easy.
They need threats to be
how is that being moral? Basically ticking off a checklist and doing things because you either fear punishment or want a reward. Where's the morality in that? It doesn't make sense. But obeying God is always a virtue, and I'm like, nah. So God could tell you to go murder a bunch of people, and you'd be okay with that.
Well, in the Bible, God tells people to kill people and children and babies and their own kids.
Well, and you get people like William Lane Craig who actually make arguments that it was actually a good thing because it didn't grow up to be heathens. I can't remember what the word he used, but I'm like, you fucking bastard! You're actually justifying killing of children. You fucking bastard.
Yeah.
They
justify killing of children, molesting of children, and then these guys are so moral. I'm sorry.
Craig is not a great thinker. He's really very well. It doesn't help that he's shackled by the requirement for his belief system to be like God is good. You have to justify it, so you have to torture logic to get to that because it's impossible. There's no way a good God can exist an all-good God in the face
Of these
problem
things.
of evil. It's impossible. Either God set it up to be, natural disasters, or just can't be bothered to prevent them. Well, which is it? It
Well,
doesn't
no,
matter.
these people did something to cause it, like let gay people get married.
Oh yeah,
so you're getting punished.
That's Ray Comfort. Like all the fires that happen every freaking year in California. But apparently,
it's punishing them.
Apparently, it's in celebration of gay people. Like, what?
Yeah, so, these people cannot problem solve.
It doesn't even make sense. Why be so inaccurate with your wrath? It's like that. Why can't it be like that picture with the lightning? Like a couple of 6 bolts saying, "Fuck those 6 fish." In the water where the lightning's striking.
Those words were looking at me wrong.
Yeah, why can't God's wrath be precise and accurate? He has to resort to wildfires, which just destroy
kill
wildlife.
Innocent animals and trees and everything else.
Sense.
I'm waiting what did those animals do?
I'm waiting for Ray Comfort's new anti-choice movie to come out for free. I'm not going to pay $20 for it. Give me a break. And I'll have a look at it, and it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be Bible says this. The Bible says this. It's a sinner. The Bible says a lot of shit. Why do you take it as authoritative?
Because he was told to.
Yeah,
but he was told to.
And that murder is wrong. Am I doing it okay? Am I doing it okay? New Zealand
version of Ray. I haven't listened to him enough to.
Oh, well. I definitely will take a look at that when it comes out because I'm curious. I know it's not going to be challenging. I mean, give me a break. I stopped reading Christian apologetics because I was just getting more and more angry as I was reading this stuff because I can't abide stupid reasoning. I just can't.
My brain it hurts.
If you're gonna try to convince me that your reasoning is good and convincing, then reason. These people don't reason. It's to be fair, they don't have the position of being correct. So it's really hard to do that without resorting to logical fallacies. In fact, it's impossible. You cannot get to God except through logic fallacies. So I get, when I read Ravi Zacharias's The End of Reason, and I just laughed. There were parts of the book where I absolutely laughed out loud because one chapter or a subchapter was titled "Atheism was the cause of my suicide attempt."
Okay.
So you're saying that you are such a simple human that you can distill your this event down to a single factor. I mean, wow. And why aren't atheists all over the world killing themselves?
Yeah. Norway doesn't have a very high rate of suicide compared to some other countries.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you got to shake a head at that kind of illogic and bad, like you can't. Like in this case, you go to the general population of atheists, and atheists aren't killing themselves. Some do. So do some Christians. I mean, what's your point? Do Christians not kill themselves somehow? Is that
well, if you look at the rates of suicide, you won't find it so much higher around amongst atheists. It's not going to be like 90% versus.
I very much doubt it is. It'd be interesting to see the numbers, but I don't think it's any different than any other group.
Yeah.
It's just the one that really angered me was the making of an atheist, and it was basically all atheists have daddy issues. And we deny the existence of God because we didn't have a good father figure. And before the book came out, I said, okay, if that's your hypothesis, this is what I expect to see. I expect to see properly randomized, data from atheists and from non-atheists. And of course, didn't get that at all. You get a bunch of cherry-picked atheists who had issues with their fathers, and there's a lot of atheists out there who have no problems with their fathers. They had a great family life. How do you explain that?
Like Christine.
Stupidity. It's just stupidity. It's they think they're being profound, but they're just being stupid. They're not stupid people. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they're being stupid.
Well, the Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you actually know about a subject, then...
The guy that wrote The Making of an Atheist supposedly is a philosopher at... I can't remember the university.
Doesn't mean he knows anything about families, situations, and rates of suicide. He didn't even look up rates of suicide, so...
It was just so badly set up to demonstrate his hypothesis that I couldn't even finish the book. It was it had no control group, no proper randomization. I mean, all these things I expect and actually demand. If you're going to say, here's my hypothesis, I want you to accept it.
Well, he obviously
didn't reason.
learn
good reason.
Scientific. What did he take? Philosophy? So he didn't learn the scientific method.
And it's not even good philosophy, so it was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bible school philosophy.
Yeah, it was pretty fluffy. Not very...
Those Bible colleges are so,
we should have... I'm forgetting names. A friend of ours. Damn it. Used to be William Lane Craig's student, actually.
Oh, no way.
John Loftus. There we go. And have him on. I want to talk a little bit about that kind of thing. And he's got a new book coming up that I'm really interested in. I want him to talk about that. So maybe I'll give him a shout and have him on. And,
yeah, he's pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah, I love the guy. Good beard, buddy.
And he traveled with a theist and had to put up with them every day, constant.
Randall Rouser now. He just cannot stand him. It just, you could see, I could see him on stage getting more and more visibly red at the just sheer inanity of this guy's arguments. Poor John.
Yeah, I had a couple of hours experience with the whole thing, and he had weeks.
Yeah, over and over.
Well, ours wasn't right. Oh my god. The
arguments were so bad. It was the number. Some mathematicians think the number 7 exists even without a human mind, and I'm like, no. The number 7 is a. Well, if we're
human
talking about the idea, it's a totally human construct. Yeah, the universe
so it's how we measure time. How we measure time, no other being anywhere else will measure time the way we do, because they don't have our sun and our planet and our...
Right.
So...
Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway, I think we'll leave it for tonight, and apologize again for the audio issues. I think until I find a fix around the XSplit freezing my computer, I'm gonna have to keep the web sites off of XSplit. It's something to do with showing the actual web pages, and I don't get it. I don't.
It's too bad. But you can still make them part of the YouTube. Can you still make them part of the YouTube video though?
Yeah,
that's more
work.
It's
a huge amount of work.
Yeah.
I'll
provide
I
links.
That once, and I said never again. It's a huge amount of work. So I will, but I may update the audio on the YouTube. Just to that's hard enough because I got to pull it off of YouTube, and then it's not terribly hard, but it's just an extra bunch of work. The audio, there's no issue.
Thank you for doing all that work.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had a production crew, but there's no way you guys can help out. It's just no way to do it.
Especially during election time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it has to originate from this computer because I get all everything up. Right. But it's fun. It's fun when it's not frustrating. I mean, when the computer freezes, that's frustrating. But I love how things are running now, and it's a lot of fun to. For some reason, I can't get the YouTube chat on here, but I'll check into that too. But it's this Stream Deck, this thing here, this I can't. Here it is. This thing makes life so much easier. It's hooked up. Anyway, this makes life. This makes this whole thing happen. Actually, just push a button, and it does everything. It's fantastic.
Good.
And it's the best $200 I ever spent. But anyway, I think that's it. Close it out.
Hey.
Good night. I don't know where Chris
Good night
is.
to
She was supposed to be here. I don't know. Yeah. Good night, everybody.